Hello everybody, Gerone Wright here, and once again you're joining me on my Gerone Wright YouTube channel here on YouTube. In this video, I'm going to be bringing you a fascinating video on my latest discovery through my paranormal experience and encounters, which I've actually been drawn to this thing about Pluto. You know that NASA's recently released a bunch of images. I guess through its discovery, or one of its deep space probes that actually took pictures of Pluto and Pluto's moon. This here image is actually supposed to be, I guess, of Pluto. It could be its moon or whatever, but it really makes no difference through what I'm actually trying to describe and what I'm going to actually show you what is going on. In this video, I'm going to be comparing Pluto to an orange. Not just any orange. In fact, I should get an orange from out of my refrigerator here. Not just any orange, but an orange that has been exposed to decay and to mold. A molded orange. That's what I'm going to compare Pluto to. And what's unique about all of this is that each and every scenario, every image that NASA has taken of Pluto can be described and or related to an orange or a piece of fruit which has been exposed to mold. I'm going to be making some comparisons. However, before I get there, I'm going to show you some things about Pluto. This is one of the NASA images that was released with regards to Pluto, and I found that, well, before I get into what I've found, let me tell you that you can see with this planet that there is texturing on the planet's surface, some of which actually almost looks like symmetry and some type of sacred geometry, and then there's others that can be compared to like writing over here in the corner, which actually this looks like an R and this looks like a P, you know what I mean, and then it's actually surrounded by other texturing that actually looks like there is some type of design, uniform design with what's going on here on the surface and the landscape of this planet. Now, but you know, this is amazing too, because I was discussing earlier on here about this thing with mold. You know that mold also has textures and textured patterns that it actually forms. These textured patterns actually described in detail the type of mold that you're actually dealing with. This is how they know about what type of mold is what type of mold, beside for the color as well. But I want to show you some interesting things about this. Now, I want to show you some, you know that I see 3D images, okay? And I believe that this is something that we have in all of us, which actually comes through this, I call it like a reptilian sense of awareness. We evolved through reptiles on our planet, which I know for a fact. And through this, for some reason or another, I have tapped into my ability to see 3D or multidimensional images crystal clear. I do not look at anything in a normal sense. I see it all for what it truly is. Now, I'm just going to point some things out here to you. For example, I see in this texture in here, I see a woman. I see a witch-like woman. I see her elongated chin right here. I'm going around her chin. Here's her lip, her bottom lip, and it is actually shows the detail, the swellingness, the fullness of her lip, the bottom lip. I'm at the bottom lip. Here's the opening of the mouth, which is there. There's the top lip. Here's her cheek here. This is the cheek area. Here's her eye, and her nose is almost like that of what a clown would have, a large ball for a nose. And then her eye, there's absolute detail for her eye. This is her eye slit here. Underneath her eye is almost like what you would expect in a clown face, people. I could draw this out for you. There's a point here, like it's a clown makeup. There's points underneath the eye slit, which creates almost like a gesture, a clown face. And then on top, this is almost like a reptilian, what you would find on a dinosaur or a lizard. These circle patterns, which creates that skin across the top eye part. And then what is really, really good here, people, this here is all the cheekbone, the jaw area right here. This is a face right here. Again, this is the mouth, there's the nose, there's the cheek, there's the eye, and then we get to up here to the forehead. And this person, this female, is wearing a crown, not just any crown. Remember when I told you that I saw R and P up here, and I seen like there's symmetry and texturing, there's detail something. People, this is almost identical to what you would see in a popal cap, a popal tiara here. So you have a face, a legible face right here, and then this is like a popal's tiara or a crown, and these things that you see that these bishops and things be wearing throughout this ancient rooted religion and stuff, and ancient rooted royalty. This is all right here. A face and a crown. Now, it gets better because when you flip this around and turn this, other things pop up. All right, but I just wanted to bring that out to you. Again, there's a chin here, there's a mouth, there's a nose, there's a cheek, there's an eye, and there's a tiara. I could actually, if I took and printed this out, people, I can draw you a legible face, a legible crown, and all of the symbolization which is in here. And this is all what's supposed to be planet Pluto. This is in the landscape. And not just this, though, a host of other things that show you these multidimensional images. Now, before I get carried away with that, I'm going to go to some other things. Should I go back first or go forward? Let me see. I'm going to go to previous. Again, I have the image drawn out. This is another. Now, oh, you can't see it. Oh, you're getting a backlight on it. You can't really see it. Oh, this sucks. I have it drawn out for you here, but I have it against the screen, and you can't see it. Oh, this sucks. All right, I'm gonna have to escape to something else. But again, what I have it somewhat highlighted here. That popal figure, and then with the crown and all. I'm gonna see if I can come in some. Maybe you can get an idea before I actually pull away, because I might be seeing something on this end different than what you're seeing. So I'll try to pull in to give you, no, it's not there. All right, what's happening is you're getting too much glare. So I'm going to pull away from that, because you should be able to see some of these other images that I come up with. All right, so I have it highlighted to actually show you that popal figure. All right, I'll make a slide video as well too. So see my slide video, and these images will be a whole lot clearer. All right, you can't see that image, so I might as well go. Let me see if I can. All right, here. Okay, you can get this one a little bit. All right, I rotated. You're getting glare. I have other images that we're going to go into, so hang in there with me, people. So I rotate the image where I saw that pope and that popal figure, or that witch-like woman with that popal tiara on. So if you rotate the image and come around, you start seeing, humans, we evolved from these creatures, these reptiles, these animals of our world. So just like in other worlds, this evolution of life have taken off the same exact way, or is about to take off in the same exact way. So you start to see these animals, these familiar faces, which equate with that of animals that we have here in our world. Okay, so here you have, in dark and enlightened areas, I was able to draw a perfect image of a cow here. There's a cow's head, there's a cow's eye, there's a cow's body, and you can see the cow's buttocks, the cow's leg, by just simply rotating that image. Now, guess where all of this is at? This is in the jawline of that female figure, because I counterclockwise turned this to where this is now this female's head. This is the back of the female's head. In the female's jawline, which is right about here, there is a cow. The nose is up here, that kind of like nose. That tiara cap is here. This is laying down, and there's the eye, there's the chin, all here. Now this cow is right here, and then there's other darkened figures in this image. This shows you a mutation, a creation, which is evolving here in this world. This is what this is showing you. How well can, yeah, you can see that cow pretty good. This is all I did was all you have to do is Google images of Pluto and rotate the image from what I just shown you and come down here, and I guarantee you that you can trace a perfect image of a cow with the black and white and the colors, all just like I did right here, and have a perfect image of a cow just like I have right there. Just by rotating this image, when it came from NASA, would be, you turn it, well, it would be upright, would be this way, would be clockwise. If you turn it up clockwise in the upright position, this would be this here would be the upright, the top. This would be the bottom. So I have it rotated on its side. So this would be the left side of the image, and that would be the right side. So this is the top side, the bottom side, the left side, and the right side. And here is the cow right here in the left side of the image, with a host of other images that I can see and know what they are. Now, it's not just one. These multi-dimensional images represent a couple. So I'm going to keep going because I want to show you a couple other things. I don't want to get stuck here. Alright, again, I have some images highlighted, but you can't see them because it's actually too light. But I have, again, that purple-like figure and other images highlighted here. I'll do a slide video so you will be able to see some of these. Plus, I'm going to probably post some of these on my Facebook page so you can actually see them there too, and on my Google Plus. Alright, so I'll do a slide video so you can see some of these images. But I want to go to something, and I want to show you. I want to discuss about this planet and its comparison with this rotten fruit. Alright, here. And you know, this is a shame because you can't actually see it. This is a picture of Pluto NASA released, and it's actually orange in color. People, I swear to you, it looks just like an orange. It looks like an orange which is in decay. It has a shade of a tinted shade of like an orange, of it like an orangish color, or a tinted like a tannish color. And people, when I tell you that it even has the texture, and you know how the skin is on an orange, it has that same texture. And I'm going to see if I can pull up another image. All right, here's another image of Pluto, where I don't know if this may be Pluto's moon, where I actually have a couple beings highlighted here, and you can actually see this here where I have it highlighted. There again, there is a female figure with a being in the back of its head, in the hair right here. Then there is a lizard or dinosaur-like creature, and in another image behind this creature, on right over here, there is an image of a serpent. So there are legible images if you look closely into the texturing of these planets, which I like to look at. You know what I like to describe them as? Like as eggs that has a backlighting, like an X-ray lighting of them. Like you hold an egg up and you can see the red yolk inside of it, or if there was a chick or some type of creature inside of it, if you hold it up, you can see it. That's what these images are like looking at. But except you're seeing this stuff on the surface, like some sort of etch-a-sketch. You can see images, multi-dimensional images, which lend and relate to creatures and beings that look sort of like mankind, mixed in with these monsters and these creatures that we are looking at. Which, people, if you think about it, which totally makes sense, because our world is a world. I'm looking at another head down here. I'm seeing a chin, a mouth, a nose, a head. There's another head right in there, and you can probably see it with me right in there. But anyway, basically, and these, by the way, people are ones that I highlighted. But people, we're living in a water world. These planets are organic substances. It's my position that these planets go through a state of decomposition and decay, and this is how life forms are created. It's just like you taking that rotten orange that I talked about out of your refrigerator, and you set it on the counter, you set it outside. We're enjoying about or close to 100-degree weather right now, and you see that orange go through a state of decay. All right, and I'm going to show you a picture of the orange, and I'll go back with it. And through that state of decay, people, what is happening is that different life forms are spawned off of that orange, or almost like like in death, like rigor mortis, like a body, where you have the maggots and you have the flies blowing the body, and you go through this state of decay, and all of these other beings take host in the body or come from out of the body and are spawned and created. This is what is happening with these worlds, people, in space. What is happening is that these planets, as they are coming into closeness and proximity with the energy of our sun, like an incubation process, just like this is an incubator is used to create life and spawn life, and to incubate life, really, that's what is to birth life. This is what our sun is doing to these worlds, to these planets. These planets are frozen organic substances, balls, which are being slowly thawed out through like a microwave-like process, this energy of the sun. And as these planets are being cooked, it's my position that Venus and Mercury once enjoyed life like we have here on Earth. Earth is enjoying that now, being cooked out, being drained of its waters and all. This is why we're having this global warming thing and everything else. Our planet used to be a complete water body, and back then it was like an Amazon. After it became an Amazon, which was a perfect picture life for these dinosaur creatures. This is another cause for how these dinosaurs came into extinction, because their world as we know it it's been gone. It's those little swamps that we have now, and we have Amazons or nothing. Our whole world used to be a swampy environment for these creatures where they once enjoyed. Once their habitat started to expire, then so would they. You see, you get the picture of what I'm talking about, people. They enjoyed this entire world planet was an Amazon, a giant aquarium for them. An Amazon, should I say, an Amazon aquarium for them. Once their environment started to deteriorate, then so would these creatures. All right. Now, it's my position that we're going through these planets are going through these states of decay, deterioration, and through each level of this deterioration, new beings, new lives come forward. And not just come forward, we have had some life forms that have figured out how they could mutate into other life forms to continue on in this longevity staying position, to where they sustain life through these different levels of decay and extinction. And this is how I believe, in my mind, have I seen and experienced that humans were created. It's my position that humans and dinosaurs are one and the same creature. Dinosaurs have figured out how to mutate from their existence through to current to what we are today. And I have other videos. If you have to see my other videos. It's my position that we evolved through the bodies of fish, through the oceanic bodies of our water, of our world, through an intelligent scenario, which evolved from planet Venus and from planet Mercury onto Earth, and now we are planet hopping, just as we are doing, onto our moon and onto Mars, just as we're sending these probes over to these. And also, I am suggesting now that we are not the first ones that have done this. I am stating that ancient Africans, blacks, well, not African, ancient blacks and ancient Egyptians have also traveled outside of our world, and I've actually shown that that's in evidence in other videos. You have to see my other videos, people, to follow up on what I'm describing here. All right, because I have found evidence on the moon, on our moon, on Earth's moon, that that the moon that's orbiting Earth, that details Egyptians that have made it to the moon. All right, so this is very compelling. So I'm going to go on again, though. This is a very example of how this appears to be a orange which has mold on it, and its skin being molded. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to go into more detail, okay? Because this is describing, again, here are some images of faces and everything else of which I've highlighted, which you can actually see in this, on this surface. If you look closely, you will see images of faces, okay, all through here. So when you do me a favor, when you go in, see how many faces that you can find, and then you start seeing and noticing that these faces have a familiar pattern, then you start seeing eyes which are looking back at you. And you'll be like, wow, is that an eye looking at me? And then if you start looking around, you will notice that there is a method, or there's a direction in each face. Like I can see a face here. You see how I have this one here highlighted for you right there, okay? And then here, but I can see another one beside that, and they're designed. They're all through here, people. I can see one here: chin, mouth, cheek, eye, and they're looking in all directions. And I'll tell you what this is all about. And they're multidimensional faces, and I'll tell you what this is all about shortly. All right. Again, here's another that planet, and people, you have to see the pictures of Pluto. Google the pictures of Pluto, and you will see what I'm talking about. It is described. It looks just like an orange. I got to get to an orange. That's what I got to get to an orange to show you exactly what I'm talking about. Here's some more images of Pluto. I don't know what you're seeing there. I'm gonna keep going. I want to show you the one that is exact. Here's a moldy orange. You see the green? You see this, the skin, the peel, the orange peel there, and you see the white and the mold. People, this is identical to the scenario of Pluto and other planets of our world. The decay on this orange is identical to the scenario in that of Pluto. Identical. From the texturing on the orange peel and everything is on the planet of Pluto. Look at this mold. When mold actually comes in, the cavities and all of it has a certain pattern that it takes, a festering that it takes, and its patterns are distinctive. If you look at a decaying orange, take a picture and put it side by side with planets, specifically Pluto in this case, you would notice that the patterns in this mold and this decay can be equated with that in the scenario and the images of Pluto. And now I'm gonna keep going. And these plumes in the and on the planet you see plumes, areas of plumes. The same thing with this decay, with this mold. There's plumes here. Mold create spurs and plumes and everything else. But again, people, this is all describable with planets, or in this case, Pluto. Now I'm gonna keep going because some of my best pictures I've actually couldn't even use. Again, here's a moldy orange, and look at this. People side by side with a planet. This can be looking on our world, back on Earth. Those green patches on our world that are like Amazons and landscapes that you can see this green at. People, if this was Earth, this would be identical to seeing how we would view back on our planet, this moldy area. And in this moldy area, you know what is taking place, this decay? Rot and growth of other life forms which are taking place, are trying to mutate. Mold and bacteria. And this is what is occurring in our world. What I'm stating is that the way that these oranges, which is happening in an accelerated way, which are deteriorating, and decay is rotting these fruits and vegetables, these planets, as we know them, even our planet Earth, as we know them, are going through this same mutation, but in this seemingly forever slow process. It's taking a course in a much slower, uniform way, where this is accelerated. However, the scenarios are identical because life is being created, different life forms are being mutated off of these organic balls of life, I call them. Okay, this here is green mold on an orange peel. Look at this. If this was a close-up shot, or should you say, or it was a landscape shot of Pluto or another planet, you would swear up and down that this was mold, not mold, but a landscape, the surface of a planet, a bizarre surface. This here, people, is textured mold. This is identical to, now hold on, because there is another, this is textured mold on an orange peel. That's what that is. Here's the surface of Pluto, right there. The surface of Pluto looks like that rotten orange peel that I was just telling you about, and the textured mold which is on it. The scenarios, I'm going to go back. This here is textured, this is an orange peel, textured orange peel. Going forward, this is the landscape of Pluto, and it's the description of this is similar to that of the orange, which is decaying with mold and bacteria. I'm going to go forward. I'm going to go through some of these. Again, here's the image of Pluto that I first described. And if you notice that you ever see where people get like ringworms or anything of that nature, and they take on these little, this here almost seems like an octagon here. But they were online calling this Mickey Mouse and all of this because it had the face, the head, and then when you turn it up it had ears and all of that. But if you look at this, these patterns have almost like close to similar to that of an octagon shape, specifically describing some type of bacteria or mold, some type of viral description of growth of bacteria, which also in this case happens to create a face. And I'm going to draw that face out, and I'm going to put it online and show you that this face is there. I'm going to do side-by-side comparison. It's not just that face, but it's like three faces morphing each other. In fact, there's 1, 2, 3 faces, and it's showing you from out of this blackness, and where the cow was upside down here, back here, in this part back here, it shows you from the cow to our black ancestors, those type of beings, going into these lighter beings, and it's showing you how they're morphing out. And I'm going to show you something about that and tell you something about that later more in writing. I'm going to keep it moving. Here is an apple. Oh, no, this is just mold on fruit. Look at this. If this was tossed up into space in a larger life sense, we would think and call this a planet with volcanic activity and with mountains. That's what this would be in space. If this is a mold on fruit. If this was in space in a larger than life sense, we would dub this as a red planet with mountains and volcanic activity because of these dark cavities. Take that scenario, people, and go down to what planets are. Planets are organic substances. Here's again orange with mold on it. Orange with mold. Looking in on a world that has something like this, we would say that it has possibilities of life, or there's an existence of life going on that world. Again, okay? You see where I'm going with this picture? Can you see this picture? All right, here's again the picture of the planet. In this, you have to Google some of these images. Each and every scenario of Pluto's images that NASA has released online, all you have to do is Google fruit with mold, or orange with mold, or textured mold. And I promise you that each and every scenario of the pictures that NASA took of Pluto can be equated with that of what I described the scenario of mold. So every scenario and every different resolution that they give us pictures of Pluto in can be equated and identified, exactly matched to that of scenarios with mold or textured mold on fruit. It's a match. Here is textured mold here. If I didn't tell you what this was, I could tell you that this was a surface of a moon or a surface of a planet. This is textured mold on a wall or on a surface, and this is what this looks like. However, it's identical to planets. And in fact, which planet though, I don't know if it's Saturn or one of them that you actually see, but there is Pluto's, in the resolution, a certain resolution, Pluto's surface is just like this. Look at this. Mold is matching that of our planets, which is in space. Textured mold, or the shape and the design and the uniform patterns of mold is identical to that or which the surfaces of our planets have. And when it plumes up or when it festers, it creates a scenario of mountains and valleys and cracks and crevices, just like with that of planets. As it goes through its manifesting state, which on our world, it is happening in an accelerated state, but in space, it is slowed down, which is suit and fitting, because everything in space, I guess it would be in a sense, because the way it's like you're going in slow motion or whatever on these planets through this metamorphic state of here is textured mold again here. Tell me that this doesn't look like the surface of a planet. These guys here looking like mountains and valleys, and look, even looks like where this white mold is here. It almost looks like you know what that looks remind glacier. It look like ice, glacier caps. Look at this. A scenario of mold that can be equated and identified with surfaces of planets. Now, after I get through this, my last picture, I'm going to tell you something about. There's that same picture again, and we can go past that. I'm going to look for better pictures. Here's one that I actually draw it out on. This is another thing about this. Now, I draw the little cartoon-like thing on here, like a flying dragon with his hair going back. There's his face, there's his leg, here's his tail here. Now, it's amazing though, because again, all of this stuff can be equated to that of this mold. Black mold on orange. I'm gonna go to without my drawings. We're there without it. People, if you Google this image, this looks like orange peel. This looks like mold on an orange peel. And when you come in real very close, people, I promise you that you see what I would call not fisheye, but those little, hold on, let me get the orange right quick. Can I get that? Like the lines in the orange, I'm not gonna go get the orange. The lines in the orange, all of that, the lines and the symmetry in orange, this is orange here, by the way, and then there's black, and then there's white. All of these little lines in here, if you Google this and go into and looking at this planet, you would notice that there are little not triangular, but like, I guess like diamonds and different texturings in there. You know what the texturing in this, I first equated it with when we were in high school and we had those rubber kickballs. Mine in school were red, and it had all of this on the rubber. It had all of these little funny looking shapes that could have been equated with like a star or like some type of, it's like some type of uniform pattern that was consistent throughout the entire ball. It's like the type of pattern that you see on a soccer ball, which they're larger, but I'm talking about, imagine a soccer ball, those patterns, like a octagon pattern, shrunken down to many, 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 many. And these are the same things which are here, which are the same patterns that are consistent with some type of fruit or vegetable that you would find this on. And again, this is another connection that is made here, because the design and the symmetry in the landscape on the crust of these planets are similar to what I'm describing as a ball in my school in grade school, or that on an orange. It's all here. You Google it and enlarge the picture, and I'll tell you that you would agree with me that there is something unique about this. It's like this crust. It's like somebody took an orange or a ball and threw it in space, and it's decaying, or let's say some type of organic, like a piece of fruit. It's like somebody placed this orange in space, and through some type of metamorphic process, a slowed down metamorphic process, it's like it was frozen, and now all of a sudden it's melting like a glacier, like the slowly melt of our glaciers in the Arctic regions. It's like this thing is going through this metamorphic state of decay, and through this metamorphic decay, state of decay, black mold is appearing on it, and this meltdown and this decay is occurring. Now check this out. Now this is how life is being created. I'm going to create life for you here on planet Pluto. This decay is happening on top of this ball, and on the inside, as this planet core is boiling, water is being slowly being produced. Condensation is being kicked off of this, and through this through this decay, and this decay, what is happening is atmospheres are being created, because space only let the gases and plumes from this stuff go so far out into space, and it's captured. It's in its containment ring, and these atmospheres are created. And what happens is, when the atmosphere becomes created, everything becomes trapped, and then this condensation creates, and this condensation from this metamorphic event starts to create this water. And then water comes, and then water is added to this, and then these creatures are now mutated, are starting to manifest, and this is how worlds are starting to create. And through these manifestations of these organic planets, these planets go through, life forms are created, and they take off in advance, and they evolve into what we are to become today. And this is what is happening. These planets are frozen, and which they're going through this metamorphic process with the sun. They're becoming thawed out. The atmospheres are being created through this process of gases, this gas matter, and combination of all of these gases through this through this activity going on with the planet's core. The nucleus, which is at the center of the planet. Okay, and what is happening is that at some point, an atmosphere is created through this. Water is created on the planet, and then life forms are spawned. And all of this is taking place with the idea of it happening from the sun. So you're saying, well, where does the water come from, Jerome? Well, the water is with all of these planets. The water is on Mars and every other planet out there except for Venus and Mercury. All right, theirs have been drawn out and evaporated. They don't went through that metamorphic process. We have it now. Our planet is being dried out. However, what is happening here is that these planets are water. They're frozen over through that process of the heat of the sun, and through the chemistry of the cold. We all know what happens when cold meets hot. Condensations are created. It's just like you blowing your hot breath from out of your body onto your window, which is cold from the winter on the outside. You create water, steam. This is what is happening here. These planets are spawned to life because they are frozen balls of organic matter, and the water is created. It's there. It's solidified. And what happens is, once the energies of the suns begins to materialize these properties of this planet, in other words, start to rot the planet, thaw it out, this scenario for the water is actually being created then. I'm saying that every planet past our world is going to go through this metamorphic state as our world is going through now. And it's my position that Venus and Mercury has already been through that, and the end result was they are the past, and those planets are gone. They're history, which would be our world as well too. All right, it's my position that NASA understands that Mars is next. This is why they're over there trying to colonize Mars, because of the fact that Mars is the next planet. Mars is the future. Mars is the world that's going to be enjoyed next. It's my position that NASA is actually not just doing it to Mars, but just to other locations in space. I believe that NASA, in all reality, NASA is contaminating these worlds with organic matter, perhaps microorganisms. I call them extremophiles, which can withstand the test of time, which once they become in contact with water, they become spawned to life. I believe that NASA is contaminating space with extremophile microorganisms, which when comes in contact with water, which will happen, Once these planets become thawed out, they will become spawned to life, and these extremophiles will have the information in the DNA, which would actually later go on to have the intelligence to alter the course of what we call living kind. Okay, here's that close-up right now. This is a close-up of Pluto. Look at the texturing. This is orange in color. Look at this. This is different resolution. Look at this. There's that horse-like creature I see shown up here, and I was showing it in a different resolution before. But look at this, people. A decaying orange. All of the symmetry, the design. Look, there's a plume right here. All of what you see in the decay on an orange is the same identical pattern match to that of what I'm describing with Pluto, with that of an orange. All of the indentations, the texturing, all of that. If you take an orange out, look at these black spots, look like black mold on an orange, decaying orange. And look, you see the white like I showed you here? This is all white mold, black mold. This would be the orange peel. Look at this. This same exact scenario. Now this is in space. This is Pluto. Can I bring that? Let me see if I can bring that back out. So this is the planet Pluto. We'll go back up. This is the planet Pluto, people, with the identical match to that of an orange with decay and rot on it. The same. No, it's no different. No different. So there's nothing unique about this, because this black spot here, which could be black mold, these white spots here, which could be white mold, and the orange peel, different decolorations of orange peel. This is what you would find on an orange that was subjected to mold and rot and decay. So everything that I'm describing with the proximity of the sun and what's happening with the sun, I see some other things here too. But everything that I'm describing about I'm seeing some interesting things here, people. Everything that I'm describing here with this is exact to that of with an orange, which is exposed to heat after being taken from, after it goes through its life state. Even in the refrigerator, it goes through decay. But this is the same thing that I'm describing here in this scenario. All right, again, look at this. This is another scenario of Pluto and another resolution. Again, we have the same exact thing that I'm describing. You have a planet which can be equated to that of a rotten orange. I'm telling you that its skin, the peel, the orange peel, is identical. Even all of those little dips, those little holes, and all the texturing of the orange, that orange skin and that orange peel, is all identical to this. Now you'll probably say, well, what if NASA used the orange to pretend like they've been to Pluto and they really haven't been there? No, people, that's not the case. The case is that space is everything that is in our world and can be equated to everything which is in our world. All you have to do is use common sense and to make the connection. We are part of space. We are part of everything in space. The thoughts in our mind is connected with the thoughts of space, with the energies of space. When you open up your mind and get out of that box, when you start thinking out of that box that they wanted to trap you in, through the education that you've been through for the 12 years in school and your higher education, and through the religion that they give you, and through all of those that you worship here in our world, when you get out of that box that they trapped you in, then you can open up your mind and you can become connected with this and make the same connections that I am making. And this is how we have these great minds in our world, which were like Einstein and Da Vinci and Sir Isaac Newton. These people were great because you know why? Because they experienced something similar to what I've had, and I like to believe that what I've gotten is actually even greater than whatever they had, because I'm sharing these wonderful videos with you and I have no end in sight. You know why? because I'm connected to something that is very true and very real. And again, I can see multidimensional images in this as well too. I'll try to put more and write it. I'm great. And then, all right. Here, again, here's the rotten orange. Again, people, this is identical to what you see in our scenario, not just on planet Pluto, but in our world as well too. Those green, if you look back on Earth, you know how you get those green areas? This will be considered an Amazon or vegetation in our world. This right here would be considered the ocean. You know that sometimes we get our water and we get foam in our water and you see all of that going on. Think of this here, this orange with this mold on it. You know what I mean? Or the way our oceans actually sometimes behave, they change in color. You know, all of that's going on. Our world is organic. People, this is all bacteria and all a manifestation of mold and microorganisms which have been created, people, through a mechanism which is being created through the projected energy of the core of our planet and the radiated energy of the sun. And all of this chemistry that our planet is burning through, our planet is eating through itself, through its core, and is creating all of these different scenarios. Through each level that it is burning through, life forms are being driven to extinction, and other life forms are being created. You have extremophile microorganisms that have yet to be hatched, that have yet to be spawned, because they are still like in this state of Adam, and this state of I don't know, I guess a state of being not even spawned into existence yet. They are being released. These chambers in our planet are being burned through, and the environment, the just right environment for their existence, they'll start coming into inhabitants. Where our bodies hold a temperature of 90 plus degrees, and other creatures, I mean, once we have been driven to an part of extinction where the sun has taken that away from us and we can no longer exist, other creatures are going to be stepping in to take over. And I know secrets about this stuff where we are going to exist in those creatures, because there are some people that know about it, and they are putting their DNA and their existences in these creatures, which are being coming into existence, because they know the secrets to what is actually everything that is going on. I'm going to keep going. Because I'm getting sidetracked here and I'm running out of time. Again, another moldy orange. And this can be equated to that of what is going on. In fact, remember I told you that I was seeing some type of stuff going on, texturing going on. Look at this pattern right here. Right here. There's a hook. And you see, let me come in close. Look at this pattern, this specific pattern. It almost looks like a 2 here. That looks like the number 2. And notice how this is taking up some type of uniform where you can almost see images in here. People, this is identical to what is actually happening on Pluto. Remember when I said that there seems to be something that's going on in the landscape, illegible, and uniform, look like some type of sacred geometry on the planet Pluto, and you can see symmetry in it. People, these are patterns which are created by mold. Look. It's the same pattern right here, which is on this orange here. I can take this here and cut and paste this and put this right, identify this next to the image of planet Pluto, and you can see some of the same exact things which are jumping off here. Now, that's what takes me to what is going on here. These patterns of mold, these textured mold patterns, which actually occur on organic surfaces, or places where organic microorganisms exist. They have specific growth patterns, like you see here on this orange, and they're readable, they're identifiable. And basically what I am telling you is that you can tell which life is going to be coming into existence in the next world based on what is growing on its surface. and the spores that the mold is actually creating, which this bacteria is being created. This through the bacteria, through the mold, through this metamorphic process of these microorganisms being spawned to life. Just like you can tell when a person has wingworms, or what type of wingworms, or what type of skin or flesh bacteria disease that they have. It's the same exact thing with these worlds, people. You can read what's going on. Just like a person can tell what kind of bacteria which is on this orange. It's the same readable grail which is going to be applied to space. And this is, I mean, there's nothing greater than having that kind of knowledge, or to have me to tell you that, or you to be witnessing a person saying that through this video, and not hearing science to say, people, I gotta end this video because I'm out of time. Again, this is a perfect pattern right here. Oh, I went too fast. Look, I gotta go. I'm gonna go real quick. All right. Here's the moldy orange right here. Look at that moldy orange. Now, here's a picture of planet Pluto in another resolution. An identical match. Oh, I still got minutes. Yeah, I can go back and forth. I haven't hit 60 minutes. Look at this. This is a resolution, another from a different resolution of Pluto. Look at the awful orange color. Look at the darkened color here. Look at this. Look at all of that there. You see that? Now, I'm going to go to this moldy orange. Look at this molded orange. The metamorphic state that this moldy orange is going through. People, if this was in space, what would everybody be thinking? They would be calling these mountains. They would be calling this some type of vegetative growth. They would be calling this white patch over here Arctic regions. They would be calling, you know what I mean, this here landscape. Look at this. It looks like this would be, and if this was in space, this would be a planet oasis, because it's striving with microbial life, bacteria, and mold. But we would identify, we wouldn't call it mold. We would call it microbial life in space. But in our world, on this orange, we're calling it mold. And yet, people, the scenario that is on that orange is matching that of what is happening in space. This is why I'm telling you, look back on our world from space. This is the last picture too. Look back on, I'm going to go back and forth between these two pictures. Look back on our world from space. Look at the ocean properties, look at the land properties. And people, what we have is that we have microbial life, bacterial life forms, and mold, which is taken off in some places and not and going and grow. Look at some of the things in what is that Yellowstone Park, that volcanic activity where you have those geysers coming up, and some of those places. Look at the ground where there are noxious gases coming up, and people, the ground in some of those hostile places where we can't go into, and some of those locations around the world. Do you ever look at the ground in those locations? Do you know what those grounds are? Let me go here. Those places around that volcanic activity where those gases are coming out from out of the ground are identical to this orange, this rotten orange. Identical. Around those geysers in Yellowstone Park, where you have the ground turning different colors and all these different noxious gases coming up through the ground. Well, people, wouldn't you would call that decay and mold, and you can't inhale this stuff? This is what takes place during decomposition. You get methane gases and all types of other gases being emitted through this decay process, and this is what is occurring, not just in our world, but in other worlds too. Our worlds are decaying planets, which can be equated to that of decaying vegetables. Where this is on a much smaller scale, it's a perfect model of the much larger scale of our worlds. And people, with that, I'm going to let you go. I hope you enjoy my video. Thank you.